Welcome to my comedy gag routine. I'm just a little bit upset at an incident that happened last week. I was at a bar. We were drinking Zimas. And they said, hey, this guy here, he lives near you, would you give him a ride home? I said, sure. So I help him off the stool, he just falls on the ground. So I drag him out to my car, stand him up to get the keys, he just falls on the ground. So I stuff him in the back of my car, I drive him home, I figured he'd be ready to go by now, I stand him outside the car, he just falls in the mud. So I scrape the mud off him, I dragged him up to the door, and his wife answered the door. I said, hi, I brought your husband home. She said, thanks, but where's his wheelchair? Now, last week I was in the checkout stand at Albertsons and I saw the National Enquirer, Walter Hudson, the fattest man in the world, 1,400 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has let himself go. Come on, Walter, grab a salad, do something. Can't this guy get the small cone once in a while? Does he have to get the banana boat barge every time? Skip the sprinkles, Walter, you're the fattest man in the world. Now I thought, maybe I shouldn't talk about this because I might offend somebody with a weight problem. And then I thought, what kind of a weight problem? You could be 1,000. It wouldn't make any difference. He's not talking about me. That guy's got a serious weight problem. I'm 1,000. I watch what I eat. Well, maybe Walter will get his act together, maybe go on a diet, drop a few hundred pounds. I don't know, would 200 pounds make a dent on this guy? If you're his friend, what are you going to say to him? Hey, Walter, you look great. What are you down to now, 1,200? Man, you're a rail. What's Walter going to say? And you know, I feel better, too. That reminds me of my girlfriend in high school. I used to call her the Gordita. I actually show videos of her to my classes. That she had so many double chins she needed a bookmark to find her mouth. I remember one time I took her to the beach. They asked me what I use for bait. One time we were kissing, going to first base. And she said, hey, I got your gum. I said, no, I just cleared my throat. Now, some people ask me from time to time what ethnicity I am. Actually, I am Polish. Yes, I'm a Polak. My grandparents came from Poland. And as soon as they came over here, people started making fun of them. First guy my grandfather met told him the reason he had a big nose was so they could have something to pick in the off season. And do you know what he told them? They told him the difference between a Polish wedding and a Polish funeral is? One less drunk. One time he locked his keys in his car. Took him 2 hours to get his family out. So, finally, my grandfather got fed up, and he said, well, I'm going to pretend I'm an Italian. So he works up his best Italian accent. He goes to the store, says, I'll take a pound of salami, a pound of cheese, and a bottle of wine. The guy said, hey, are you a Polak? He said, yeah, how'd you know? He said, this is a hardware store. Bookmark to find their mouth. You ever notice that sometimes people that are really smart can say some really stupid things? Yeah. Last year, this bird fell out of the nest, and I was going to try and raise it. But the darn thing wouldn't eat. So I called a veterinarian, and he told me to use an eyedropper. But that didn't work. The food just piled up on his eye. Now, I'm all for saving the earth, recycling, and all this kind of stuff. But I really think some people have gone too far. This one guy says, ladies, don't throw away your old bras, dye them black, and give them to Siamese rabbis. Now, last week, I went to this Hollywood party, and this blonde starlet comes up to me and says, my husband's away for the weekend. Would you like to give me a ride home? I told her, look, if you knew your husband was going to be away, you should have made transportation arrangements. But enough about me. What about you? What do you think about me? Now, how many seniors do we have in here? Seniors? That's a lot. You guys need to get an education. You need to get some job skills. Yeah. You need to get some job skills because we need to know what kind of work you're out of. Last week, my self-esteem took a beating. My kids were telling me I'm weird. So I thought I better get some professional help. So I went to the psychologist to be analyzed, and he told me I was crazy. I said, if you don't mind, I'd like a second opinion. He said, okay, you're ugly. Now, I was walking around in our solar parking lot last week, and this kid bumped me with his car. I said, what, are you blind? He said, I hit you, didn't I? Now, let's face it, Palmdale's kind of a rough neighborhood. I understand there's a Christian Science reading room. It's got its own bouncer. Somebody put out one of those roach motels, the property value doubled. Now, a couple years ago, there was a cannibal in Milwaukee by the name of Jeffrey Dahmer, and they captured him. And I remember thinking at the time, why did the trial take so long? To me, the trial would go like this. Are you a cannibal? Yes, I am. Bring in the next guy. If you're his lawyer, what are you going to say? Now I realize my client, Mr. Dahmer here, has admitted to killing and eating 2 dozen people. But before we rush to judgment, how many of us can say that our lives are up to snuff? Are we to judge my client on the basis of a couple dozen mistakes? Or are we to judge him on the basis of the thousands of people he hasn't eaten at all? Then he said, Your Honor, my client is insane. Well, dip me in mustard and call me hot dog. You just blew my mind with that one, counselor. I thought he was a sane cannibal. ¿Alguien aquí que hable español? Tengo pulgas en el ombligo, tengo piojos en mis sobacos. Now, I have a dartboard in my room, I kind of think it was a bad idea. This guy comes in, he says, hey, will you give me a prize if I get a bullseye? I didn't think he'd get a bullseye. I go, sure, I'll give you a prize. Guy winds up, boom. I go, oh no, what am I going to do? So I gave him my pet turtle. He comes back the next week. He goes, hey, will you give me another prize if I get a bullseye? I said, get out of here, I don't have any more prizes. He says, oh yeah, you do. Give me another one of those roast beef on a hard roll. Now, I'm a student of the Bible. And I was studying carefully the Greek New Testament, and I discovered who the Apostle Paul's father is. Remember the Apostle Paul? He wrote Romans, several other books. The Apostle Paul's father was a thief on the cross. Yeah, remember Jesus was crucified with two thieves? I know that because Paul said, my old man was crucified with Christ. What do you call a black astronaut?
Oh my God!
An astronaut, you racist. Now my dad's getting kind of old, he's kind of losing it. So last week he calls me up. He says, hey, I get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, a light comes on. Get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, a light comes on. Can you help me out? I went over, I checked it out. I said, Dad, you're peeing in the refrigerator. Now, last week I was sitting there and this homeless guy knocks on the door and he's looking for a handout. So I said, hey, I believe in free enterprise, capitalism, all that good stuff. I tell you what, I got a bucket of paint here. If you paint the porch, I'll give you a bologna sandwich. And he said, deal. So he comes back 2 hours later. Says, I'm done. I gave him his bologna sandwich. And then he said, oh, by the way, it wasn't a Porsche, it was a Mercedes. I think it's kind of silly. We got people that'll mow our lawns, clean our house, clean our closets. I think it's dumb we have people that do stuff we really ought to do ourselves. Like I was talking about that just this morning with a guy that was brushing my teeth. Now I went camping out in Wrightwood last week, and I'm walking by the outhouse, and this guy had dropped his jacket in the outhouse, and he was fishing it out with a rake. I said, my gosh, you're not going to wear that again, are you? He said, no, but I left the sandwich in the pocket. Dios te bendiga.